Thank you. And last but not least, I would like to introduce Mr. Steve Uells. He's the chair of Elmbridge charity.
Thank you very much indeed. It's a real privilege to be here and to give us, and we've had a really warm welcome. It was a particular pleasure to meet Dania, who just before the meeting gave me a crash course in the history of the Cold War, which he's studying as part of GCSE. So it's a real honor to be here. At Elmbridge, we believe there is no such thing as a disabled human being. You can only be a human being who just happens to have a disability. Just as you can't be an illegal migrant or an illegal human being. You're simply a human being who is seeking safe sanctuary, fleeing terror. That we're all human beings, all different, is at the heart of what our charity Elmbridge stands for. It was formed in 2016 when people were very moved by what they saw happening in the Eastern Mediterranean as Syrians fled the terrible civil war in Syria. All of those people fleeing that war had made that momentous decision to go, to leave, to pull up their roots in their home country, because the risks that they didn't know about in advance where they were traveling to were less than the risks that they faced at home. And that is a huge decision. Imagine that moment as you decide what to put into two suitcases. 80 million people worldwide have made that decision. There are around 80 million what are called displaced people, and the number is growing because of war, because of political instability, and of course now the effects of climate change. And so we need each other more than we've ever needed each other before. We need to be there for each other in our communities, and that's what we at Elmbridge can try to do. After 2016, the charity grew steadily. We accommodated around 25 families in houses around Elmbridge. And in 2021, we then had to receive and welcome over 200 Afghans fleeing the terrible terror in Afghanistan, who are still in a local hotel and still receiving support. And then, of course, in March this year, we started to see the arrival of many Ukrainians fleeing the terrible terror in Putin's war. And we had to up our game. We had to grow quickly to cope with anything that was thrown at us, to welcome people fleeing trauma, to welcome people whose relationships at home, families were divided, roots had been pulled up, to help them put down new roots in this community in Elmbridge through welcoming them, giving them a sense of there's someone now that they can trust and rely on, to give them a sense of security, and to allow that security to flourish into a sense of independence. We are trying to help people find themselves again, to find out, to rediscover who they are in a different environment. I remember an early Syrian refugee, a man who enjoyed growing food with his dad. We always try and discover what people do, what are their skills, what is part of them. And so we arranged for him and his family to have an allotment in Elmbridge. And we had a work party of volunteers that cleared that allotment, and then it was over to him. And he's produced the most amazing allotment, growing all sorts of foods, so all sorts of things that I didn't know about that he's introduced me to. And one day on the allotment, we were chatting, and he just suddenly looked at me and said, when I'm here, I'm more like myself. And he had found that sense of peace and security. He also went on to say, when I come here, I can feel a sense of peace. If I've got bad thoughts in my head, and he and his family had been through terrible trauma, I can feel the bad thoughts going down through my body, through my feet and into the ground, and they come up again as plants. I also asked him what he liked most about being in the UK, and quick as a flash, he said zebra crossings, because there aren't any in Syria, and it gave him a sense of safety and security. So what we have learned is that whatever different backgrounds people come from, what creeds, what races, what gender, we share a common humanity. And at our charity, we try to provide the means where people can express their humanity, whether it's learning English, which is vital, digital skills, which are also vital, sewing, cooking, cycling, playing cricket, which of course has been a really big hit with the Afghans that we're supporting, because we share that common humanity. We have also a responsibility for all who follow us to be able to live flourishing lives. And it's been wonderful to witness the way in which people in Elmbridge have opened their hearts to so many people from different races, different organizations, different countries. And especially young people have been welcoming and have bonded with those people who are from completely different backgrounds. And it's been wonderful to see the budding up, just as Max and Danya have budded up so well. It's been wonderful to see. And this has produced huge benefits for all as people look for the best in others. And in doing that, they discover the best in themselves. I personally reflect on the last 6 years of my increasingly aged life and really feel that the last 6 years of my life since the formation of Elmbridge Can have been the richest in many ways. I've learned so much. I've gained so much more faith in humanity as people have come together. A Syrian lady who we helped when she first arrived with her family and is now volunteering to support Afghans in the local hotel, said this week, "We are all one human family in a very troubled world." That's something we should celebrate. So I'm asking you all to give a great big clap for humanity.
Thank you so much, Steve.